The SIG Spear, it is a flat shooting, very nice feeling rifle. But how accurate is it? And will it flex? Whoa!
Oh my.
That did something.
Yeah, it sure did.
This video is brought to you by Midway USA. Support the channel by choosing Midway for your shooting and outdoor supplies.
Hello, welcome to 9-Hole Reviews. If you landed here hoping to see a quick, short, fun, and sexy video on the Spear LT blasting away, or more likely to see Henry shoot some stuff very far away, well, frankly, you're going to be disappointed because today's video is mostly about data analysis of paper groupings shot at 100 yards. So, if this isn't quite your speed, we'll go ahead and drop a link to our first shots vid on the Spear LT. You can go check that out. But for those of you who haven't left, you've chosen wisely, because we're going to be looking at whether or not the Spear LT barrel actually flexes and has point of impact shift when force is applied to it. Now, in early 2023, T-Rex Arms posted a series of Instagram posts or reels where they showed what appeared to be some obvious flex between the barrel and the handguard on the new Spear LTs. And frankly, this set the internet into a tizzy, and Reddit had a field day with this, as you might imagine. And then subsequently, T-Rex posted a one-take where they attempted to demonstrate whether or not there was a meaningful amount of point of impact shift while shooting groups at 100 yards. Fortunately, the test wasn't exactly conclusive, so we're going to try to remedy that for you. In case this is all completely foreign to you, the Spear LT is SIG's newest version of the MCX. And if you press on the barrel and the handguard, well, it looks like either the barrel or the handguard is moving off center. And then a shop called Scorpius Tactical posted video torquing on the barrel while holding the receiver in a vise. And with a bore laser, it appeared as though they were demonstrating that the barrel's actual point of impact was shifting in relation to the receiver. So, today, we're going to try this while actually shooting the rifle. So, here's what we did. We started with our standard 9-shot group with IMI 77s. And, well, this wasn't particularly good to begin with. 2.9 inches or a 2.4 inch 90% grouping. Personally, I would have hoped to see sub 2 inches on 9 shots out of a rifle like this. But we'll shoot more full groups, just go with us for now. Next, we took the rifle while holding the receiver and applied significant force, pressing the barrel toward the right. We then shot another 9-shot group. The first shot lands to the right by about 2.3 inches, but the rest of the group got then pretty tight back into the exact same zeroing location as the control, with the exception of shot number 7, which landed pretty far off the right. So shot number 7 basically made me go, well, okay, shot 1 was not entirely due to flex. Like, obviously the rifle could just be grouping that wide. Now, this whole group was a 3.08 inch 9-shot group, or 2.44 inches on the 90% grouping, but with a very obvious just over 1.25 inch cluster in the standard zeroing location against the control. Next, we held the receiver, and applying significant force, we flexed the barrel to the left. And we got back to shooting our 9-shot group. Again, our first shot was the furthest left shot in the group, so the furthest outlier in the direction that we flexed the barrel. About a 0.9 inch shift left of our control group's impacts. But the rest of the rounds all tightened back up into the relatively same position as the previous two grouping zero. This printed a 2.05 inch 9-shot group or a 1.7 inch 90% grouping. So the best group thus far, and also where I would expect a rifle like this to be shooting a 9-shot group somewhere between 1.5 and 2 inches. Lastly, we had a few rounds left, so we tried torquing on the barrel and the handguard, so holding the handguard and pulling the barrel as opposed to the receiver. The handguard and barrel certainly looked misaligned, even with an Arisaka zero retention clamp installed. And I can tell you, it was way worse when we didn't have the Arisaka piece installed. So that's not a dig at the Arisaka product. It certainly appears to help. But now let's get back to shooting. And as we shoot a 5-shot grouping here, you can see that there doesn't appear to be any obvious outliers. We have a 2-inch 5-shot group, all basically right in line with our control group position, as well as the primary clusters of the previous 2 groups. And having looked at these results on range, we said to ourselves, all right, these groups all make sense in terms of overall group size, and there doesn't seem to be any obvious point of impact shift going on for the core grouping. But as we were reviewing this footage in post-production, I just had a bad feeling about those first 2 shots post-flex in both our right and left grouping. What if them being the furthest outliers wasn't just bad luck? What if the barrel was really flexing off center? Now, before we go any further, a quick word from this video sponsor and title sponsor of the show, Midway USA. Here at 9-Hole, you see us shoot a variety of firearms. We use various optics, from red dots to 25 power precision scopes. We shoot various ammunition, from ball to match to hand loads. We shoot off of various mats and rests. We transport our firearms in a whole bunch of different cases, and we maintain our firearms with a variety of cleaning supplies. But we can find all of this at Midway USA. Midway carries just about everything for serious shooters. But the product offering isn't the only reason we choose Midway. If you need an order shipped quick, Midway's shipping department is probably one of the best in the business. Almost all the orders we place there ship the same or the next business day. And lastly, something I personally love, the stock availability feature. Not only can you see if a product is in stock and available to ship, but you can also see when back-ordered or out-of-stock items are expected to be available again. This lets us know it's safe to order a back-ordered product and that we won't get stuck waiting for months for it to come back into stock. So, if you're looking to pick up some new gear, be sure to check out Midway USA. Now, let's get back to the show. So we went back out to do some additional testing. We started with another 9-shot control group. This time, our 9-shot group printed a 2.41 inch grouping, with the 90% grouping coming in at 1.54 inches. Again, this is more in line with what we would be expecting out of this platform for most groupings. We have an obvious, solid center cluster, and one round happens to be a Flyers. Fair enough. Maybe some of that just has to do with needing the gun to wear in a bit. Again, this is a very new rifle. We're only a few mags through the gun in total at the time that we did these groupings. Next, we threw on a Dead Air Sandman K and shot another 9-shot grouping to see if there would be point of impact shift with the attachment of the suppressor, as well as whether or not the suppressor would tighten the group to give us an easier, more obvious tight cluster to judge from. Interestingly enough, the grouping was extremely similar in size to our control, coming in at 2.09 inches for 9 shots and 1.45 inches for the 90% grouping. There appeared to be a negligible point of impact shift. Perhaps you could say it shifted the grouping high by maybe half an inch or so. Next, we executed our flex test. Here we were going to flex the barrel and shoot 1 round only, and then repeat that process to see if we could demonstrate an impact shift on the first round's post-flex. So, flexing the barrel to the left, holding the receiver, we then got Henry back on the rifle to fire a shot. Impact just right of center, which that didn't make much sense. If the barrel was going to flex, I would have expected it to land left, not drop low. But okay, let's go try again. Another flex to the left with one shot. And this is where things got a little scary. Again, we're flexing the barrel to the left while holding the receiver, and boom, there you see the shot off the left.
my.
Almost 3.2 inches left of our grouping center point. We now opted to fire another 2 shots to see if the rounds would return to the original grouping position. And well, that is exactly what happened. Round 2 got about halfway back, and round 3 landed right in the original control group cluster. Yikes. So we opted to go again.
Okay.
We flex the barrel to the left, get Henry back behind the gun, and boom. Impact in a nearly identical spot as our previous flex test, 3.2 inches left of our original control group center. And as you can see, as we fire it again, the second shot returned back to the original group. So is the conclusion that the barrel is flexing? Well, when you consider the totality of all of the groups fired, we would be confident to say, if you apply significant pressure to the Spear LT barrel while simultaneously isolating the pressure to cause flex against the receiver, then you are likely to see some point of impact shift from your first shot, post-flex, anywhere between 0.5 and 3.5 MOA. Now you stop right there. I see you slamming away on the keyboard about how we must hate Sig Sauer, and this is a ridiculous test. Well, maybe. We're abusing the rifle in a way that is extremely unlikely to ever be practically relevant. I mean, I'm pressing very hard, specifically right on the muzzle, while only holding the receiver to generate this flex and this impact shift. But I can see a world where if you had full kit on and you fell while holding the rifle, perhaps the rifle has a suppressor affixed, and you land horizontally right on the suppressor, I could see how there could be flex applied to the barrel isolated against the receiver. And to those of you who would say, well, I bet a flexed free float AR barrel would do the exact same thing. Well, we repeated the exact same test with a Geisley URGI in a 14.5 inch barrel. The control group shot with this rifle was a 1.05 inch 9-shot group with a 0.89 inch 90% grouping. Oh, that's what I'm talking about in terms of group size. And when we flexed the barrel, what did we see? Well, maybe there was some sort of horizontal flex, but certainly under an inch from the group center and less than 0.3 inches from the widest shots in the previous group. Is that conclusive? I would say absolutely not, but what I can say is that is far less potential flex than what we saw out of the LT. Long and short, it was nowhere close to the same level of diversion. Now look, we didn't want this to be the result here, and maybe we just sucked while shooting all these groups. Maybe the gun needed to be broken in, and it still needs to be broken in. Maybe our tests were flawed. Maybe we're extrapolating too much from too little data. It's all possible. But what I can tell you is we torqued down all of the screws appropriately per spec with an actual torque driver. We ensured that we were giving it a fair shot. We went back and shot it again, and these were the results that we were seeing. Now, we still shot the Spear LT on our practical accuracy course. That full video will be coming in the future. And guess what? When you aren't monkey wrenching on the barrel, the rifle shoots pretty dang accurately, certainly within the practical accuracy confines of a combative style rifle. So in conclusion, what we can tell you is after shooting the rifle on the close range, as well as these paper accuracy tests, frankly, the rifle is a very smooth shooting and controllable firearm when it comes to running and gunning. In spite of our groupings being substantially wider than a premium AR in a similar price bucket, the rifle is still capable out at distance with great practical accuracy potential. But it does appear that there is not untrue or unreal issues associated with flex in the barrel. And when you're competing against the likes of the URGI, the 416, the SCAR 16, and so on, it certainly raises some red flags from a consumer perspective. Until next time, we'll see you on the range.
716, this is Steel 96, 4 Vic, 8 packs, red con 1, green to green. How copy, over?
Steel 96, this is 716, roger, over. 16, Steel 91, 1 pack, green, over. This is 716, roger, over. 16, Steel 92, 1 Victor, 2 packs, red con 1, over.